Now, I met Janice a few years ago. She attended some of the classes here, including all my classes. And I've really witnessed how amazing she is in all that she does. She has always shown herself to be a caring and kind person. Now, on her regular life, she's a appraiser. She's been that way for 20 years. She's raised 3 kids. And she started seeing dead relatives 10 years ago. And she's also a member of our church. She may not know this, but she's a true leader and example to others. I would like you to give her a round of clap for her to come up. This is Janice Falconer. I know you're going to do a wonderful job.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Good
morning. It's nice to see everybody here today. I want to talk about my healing journey, and I'm hoping that it sets an example for others or puts others on a path. And I want to dedicate this talk to my guides and my teachers, Anna and Reverend Marie. It's through them that I found my compass. So I always say that Spirit tricked me and they handed me a gift. It was a box that had shiny red wrapping paper around it with a huge bow on top. And I thought it was labeled mediumship. But once I pulled off that bow and tore the shiny red wrapping paper away and looked into the box, it was filled. And it was filled with all the things that I needed to heal to embrace mediumship. The things I needed to heal to be closer to God and the spirits I would be working with on the other side. When I first started this journey of mediumship, my friend Herb, he passed away years ago, came through in a reading, and he told me if I wanted it, I had to work for it. I knew he was talking about mediumship, but I didn't realize the true meaning of working for it. I was actually under the impression that mediumship was all about figuring out how to connect on command and just saying what I got. I didn't know about all the healing I would have to do to get that deep connection, and I didn't even think I needed healing at the time. I also didn't realize that there was a cycle. You can only get so far in what you put your effort towards, and then the growth stops. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have to work to continue to grow. And for me, that growth was healing. I had to heal. And I kept asking my guides for a sign and then a signier sign. And they almost had to hit me over the head to get my attention. My final sign came during a shamanic journey. My intention that day was to learn something new about myself. My guide appeared in front of my path that went through the woods. He's an older, wise-looking man with a long robe, leather sandals, and he has dirty. He had an old wood broom and he was sweeping my path, and I thought he was clearing my path. I seriously thought he was clearing it. But when I stepped on that path, it wasn't even and the ground was rocky. So I thought to myself, how could my path be uneven and rocky if my guide just cleared it? As I walked that uneven path, I realized at that moment it was me. I'm the one who made that path hard to walk. So some of the healing in that box, that gift box, was small and easy to get over, while others were large with deep wounds attached to them. And it was like rugged terrain, 6 feet of snow, uphill, both ways. If I wanted to advance further, then I had to work on the contents of that box. That box, I now call it my healing box. In my healing box, I came across something that I never heard of before: energetic boundaries and blocks. My teacher once told me, you're not letting them in. You have a block and you have to drop your boundaries and open up to them. I never understood what she meant. Then one night while attending to my meditations, I felt the energy of that block. It was right there where Spirit came in, and it was so close, but Spirit was on the other side of it. And I needed to find out exactly what this was if I wanted to advance. Where did it come from and how did it affect me? I learned through research that we all create energetic boundaries or blocks, and it's to block parts of our childhood or past, and everybody has them. Some people have small, minuscule blocks, while others have huge, painful blocks. As children, we put these into place to protect ourselves. But as adults, we still carry them around. Sometimes these boundaries are no longer needed, but we still carry them. Because of this, part of us as adults have not evolved to our full potential. This represents healing that has to be done. Some areas of our childhood will keep manifesting throughout our lives over and over again until we heal these energetic boundaries or blocks. So I ask these questions. Do you feel shame? Do you feel like you're not good enough? Are you beating yourself up in your mind? Do you feel regret? Or is your ego running negative thoughts about yourself over and over and it holds you back? If so, then we have energetic boundaries or blocks, and that's where we need to go. Guilt, this thing here, guilt, resentment, sadness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. My thoughts or ego was spending too much time in the past. If we let these emotions carry into our present, then we would be considered stuck. That's when I realized I was stuck. The only true life exists now, and those feelings of shame, regret, not good enough, prevented me from being in the now. Eckhart Tolle is known to have said, people don't realize that now is all there ever is. There is no past or future except as memory or anticipation in your mind. So I ask, what is the past? What purpose does the past have other than to hold us back? What if nothing happens in the past and everything happens in the now? If we hold the past in our mind and it impacts the present, then what is our true reality? If we are reliving our past today, then our past is our reality now. Sorry, I just saw a bird fly right across the window. It was very, so what if we told ourselves the past doesn't exist anymore? What if we told ourselves the past is merely a thought form, taking up space in our mind, and the only thing that exists is today, now? If we always go to the past, then we give it power. When we surrender and become fully present in the now, then the past ceases to have any power over us because we don't need it anymore. Let me say that again. The past ceases to exist if we stop giving it power. Some of this ties in with my always talking, never-ending thoughts, or as some call it, our egos. So I ask this, what if we are not our thoughts? What if our thoughts are only a distraction from being in the now? Maybe if we realize that we're not our thoughts, it would bring us back to that point of awakening. What if we monitor our thoughts and it moved us forward? What if we monitored them on a daily basis, minute by minute? Maybe if we try to recognize the negative thoughts, stop and replace them with loving ones, we might heal. When we stop believing the negative thoughts about ourselves is when we're able to start the process of bringing ourselves back to wholeness. I then realized if I wanted to live a miraculous life, I needed to raise the volume on the loving thoughts within me and turn down the volume of my fear. Sometimes, in order to heal those negative thoughts and emotions, we must go back to where it started. We must re-examine our life and look at everything that comes up. We have to scan our emotions. And once we identify the source of a problem, then we need to relive it. Feel the pain, and I mean truly feel the pain attached to it, and cry if you need, but then we have to accept it for what it is. We may need to revisit the pain a few times, but eventually the identity of that past ceases to exist. If we keep the past buried within our souls, the pain's always going to be there. Between the two, applying the thought process that the past only exists in my mind and going back to heal the source of my pain, the healing process started. We're human. So naturally, we want to stuff that pain down within ourselves. What if instead of avoiding the pain, we looked at it, we felt it, we questioned it, and then we just accepted it? If we close that pain down, it won't go away. It will always find its way back to the surface. If life were not challenging, we would never grow. When we experience trauma, it closes off a part of ourselves. Our job is to reclaim ourselves so we can move our souls forward. This means doing the work to heal ourselves. Life is supposed to be an adventure. We're supposed to come face to face with obstacles. Then we have to overcome them to move our souls forward. There's still more. In my healing box, the word soul consciousness was there. My actions and everyone's actions reflected a different level of soul's consciousness. I recognized that I was not perfect, and the people around me were not perfect either. We're all acting at our own level of our soul's consciousness. Some of us are not that evolved, while others are highly evolved. A reflection of ours and their level of soul consciousness.
You're supposed to be the highly evolved.
Oh, I see.
Maybe there's a reason for this. If we were all evolved at the same level of consciousness, there would be no conflict, no hurdles to cross our paths, no way of learning our lessons. How do we learn if there's no conflict or trauma? We have to learn. The most recent thing I pulled out of my healing box was love. We all know what love is, right? But do we really? Do we know that true unconditional love? Not for our children, our spouse and friends, but for the stranger on the street corner begging for money, or the stranger that cuts you off that you want to yell at. My teacher always says, you need to send them love.
I know, I tell you that.
And I would always reply in my mind, I'm not there yet. There's a power that comes to those who show unconditional love and to those who receive unconditional love. Those who show this love are released from being consumed with themselves, while those who receive this love are released from the limitations others have placed upon them. So I decided I was going to work on love next. Love is a feeling. It's not something you can read up on the internet or study. There's lots of stories, but you have to feel that love. How do you feel it? That love that the God within us has for each person, no matter who they are or what they do. So for this lesson, I had to go directly to the source. So every night after my meditations, when my mind was in that place, I would say to God, show me love. Show me that true unconditional love that they talk about. Teach me that true unconditional love. And this went on for weeks. At some point, I was scheduled to give a few platform readings at the church, and an older man came to the church that morning. And I heard one of the church members introduce himself to him, but all he said to that person is, I need a reading. Platform readings went well that day and the church service had ended, but the older man still lingered after the service. So I decided I was going to do a bit of small talk with him. But he didn't want the small talk. He simply said, I need a reading. Now, of course, my ego's in the way. So I told him, I'm not that good because I'm new. I'll find someone who has more experience, someone who's going to be a better service to you, but not me. I left and I looked around and I walked around the church and I was looking for the other mediums and they already left. Well, I couldn't leave without helping him. So I sat in a corner reluctantly and I told him I would do my best, but I'm not going to promise anything. As I started the reading, that love that was in the healing box was there. That love that I asked God to show me. It was if I was it. True, pure, unconditional love. And I could feel it, and it took on a life of its own, and it encompassed the two of us during the entire reading. And I truly believe Spirit brought this man to this church for his needs and mine. His was of desperation, and mine was to teach me. I asked for it. I still have a long way to go to get through that healing box, and I'm not sure if I'm ever going to reach the bottom of it. I know that every time I open that healing box, more words, thoughts, and feelings appear. But when I look back at the gift from Spirit, the box that was covered with shiny red wrapping paper and the huge bow on it that I thought was labeled mediumship, I realized that it truly was a gift from Spirit. I know now that my soul's main purpose was not at all about mediumship, but about healing myself, so that I may live a true, authentic life with meaning and purpose. As said by Carl Jung, he who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
That is truly wonderful. You've done a great job, for it's a healing journey. It's something we all take, and you brought forth beautiful things, being in the moment and all the questions that brought up. And just remember, you are amazing.